blocks are essentially containers for information that will cause that information to display in a special way on the screen. Most of the visual elements in Optimizely are built using blocks. And that's really helpful because Optimizely provides mobile responsive design, meaning that the site will look different. It will respond based on the size of the screen. So you can view it on a desktop device and you can view it on a mobile device, and it will be perfectly legible and readable no matter the screen size or orientation. And blocks are a key component of that. Now, there are a whole bunch of blocks that are available to you as a site coordinator, and the complexity of those blocks varies. And there are even some blocks that actually contain other blocks. If you ever want to see examples of the blocks, there is actually a page called Examples of Blocks, and it's in the Site Coordinator Toolkit on Child. And we just created this a long time ago to show visual examples of the various blocks that are available to you, including sidebar blocks here. As I scroll down, you can see that there are a lot of different options. For this example, I'll go ahead and do a simple one, which is the 3-button short header block right up here. I'll go back to Optimizely, and I've got my test page open where I'm doing a lot of work associated with these trainings. And the first thing we need to do is determine where we want to save the block or create the block. Come over here to the asset pane on the right side and make sure that blocks is selected here up at the top. That's really important. Now there's a folder here called blocks within that tree, and you can select to create your block in any location within this folder structure. If you create a block in any of these folders, that means that the block you create will be available to use on multiple pages, and it will also be visible to all other site coordinators. They can go in and see it. They could even use it on their pages if they want. Another option, you can actually collapse the blocks folder if that was actually open. The other option is to use for this page. When you create a block under for this page, the block is specifically associated with whatever page you're working on. And in a lot of cases, that's going to be what you'll want to use because you won't want the block to be available to others or for use on multiple pages. So that's what we'll do for this example, is use for this page. To create a new block, you can just click this button, this new block button, or you can click the plus sign down here. I'll do that. And that opens up the new block selector. And here are the various blocks that are available to you. The button headers are at the top, and the 3-button header short block is right there. So I'll click on that. And this takes us to the editor for that block. The first thing we have to do is add a name. I'll just call this the 3-button header test. Now, under required properties, these are the items that we have to fill in for the block. They're marked with red asterisks. And there's a left button, a middle button, and a right button. So the first thing I'll do is set background color for the left button by choosing medium blue. And then we have to set a link for that button. That's important. All of these buttons, because they're buttons, they're meant to be pressed, so they all need a link. So come over here, there's the little 3-dot icon here. I'll click that to open the Create Link field. We have to add the link name text. This is important to add because this is what will appear in a screen reader for accessibility purposes. So make this descriptive, not long, but just descriptive of where that link is going to go. You can even say link to the Marcom child site. And that's what we'll link to here. You have these 4 options as far as how to set the link. If the link is a page on child, you use the page field. If the link will be to a file that's in the child media library, you use the media field. You can link to an email address, and you can also link to an external site or file, and you would do that using the external link field. The Marcom child site is of course on child, so I'll click this button right here, and this will allow us to navigate to the page we want to link to. In this case, it's the Marcom homepage. I'll click OK. Now that's added in there. And then I'll click OK again. Well, that left button is now set. So now we have to just do the same with the middle and the right buttons. So I'll choose a different color for the middle button. Let's make that one the dark orange. And we'll set the link for this. Maybe for this one, we'll send it to seattlechildren's.org. So it's a link to seattlechildren's.org website, the external site. Now, because that's going to link to an external site, we strongly recommend that you choose that link open in a new window. That way, people won't be leaving child in order to get to the link that you provide. And because that's an external link, we have to come down here and enter that in the external link field. It's an easy one. It's just www.seattlechildren's.org. If I can spell it correctly. There we go. I'll click OK. That's set. Now the right button. Let's choose the medium green for the color here and set the link for that. Now let's see. Let's point to a media file. And I'll just go find a media file. Click that little radio button there. And then open this up. And let's see. We'll need to use the media tab, or excuse me, the media folder. Expand that. And there's a lot of media in here. Some folks have been saving media not to any specific folder set, but just directly under media. So let's see, how about for people and places, how about we go here and say children's locations, and let's see what's here. Oh, we have an 818 Stewart stacking and floor plans PDF. All right, I'll select that. Okay, so it's the 818 Stewart stacking and floor plans. Now I'll come up here and say link to 818 Stewart stacking and floor plans file. And again, I'll set that to open in a new window. It's coming from child, but it's not landing on another child page. So then I'll click OK. Now, in order to actually create that block, you have to come up here and click the Create button. So that block now exists. This yellowish, tannish ribbon up here shows that this item is not used anywhere. We will rectify that in a moment. Although first, I forgot, we actually have to click Publish to make this available for use. So we created it, which basically just stores it, but now we have to publish it so it can actually be used on a page. So I'll publish this. Okay, still says the item is not used anywhere, but that's because we haven't placed it on a page yet. So now you come over here and you just click this little back link, and that will go back to the page you're working on. Now, in the asset pane, when I click for this page, there's the 3-button header test block. So let's say we want to add this right before the authorization forms section on this page. We have to create space for that block. So I will come up here before that and I'll add a carriage return just to create a space where that can live. To add this block right in there, you just come over here to the asset pane, you click it, left click and hold, and then you drag it over and then just release the mouse button. And it placed it right there. If you want to see what this is going to look like, you can come over and click the preview button. And there are our 3 buttons. I'll go back. That's how you place it in the main body editor. But maybe what I want to do is actually add that at the very top of the page. So I'm going to actually remove this from the main body editor just by clicking it and then pressing the delete button. That does not delete the block, that just deletes it from the main body editor portion. You can see that the block is actually still over here. We have this button header option up here. That's a special field that anything that's placed there will appear directly below the page title at the top of the page. So I'm going to drag that right in there. Now that exists in that location. I'm going to go to the preview. Now we can see it's at the very top. So I'll go back here. We can also add blocks in sidebars. That's through the sidebar tab. You can add to the left or the right sidebar. Not all blocks can be placed in the sidebars. You'll know whether a block can go in the sidebar by clicking on it and dragging it over. And by dragging this over, this field isn't highlighting in any way. That means that I can't place this particular kind of block in that field. That's okay. We don't want to do that in this case. But I just wanted to show you how to add to the sidebar. All right, so I will now publish those changes. And now I'll come up here, view on website, I'll right click that, I'll open the link in a new tab. And this is the child live site, and now those buttons are there. One last thing I want to quickly do is show you how to preview a page on mobile. Do that by coming up to View, this Toggle View Settings button. You click it the first time, and because I had previously selected mobile from this drop-down list right here, the mobile view popped up. And then you can actually just scroll, and you can see how this is going to look. So that 3-button short header block here, now those buttons aren't stacked side by side, they are on top of each other. That's the mobile responsiveness. So that's how you create a simple block and add it to a page.